What Lonzo thinks is a wide-ranging, free-flowing discussion where I offer my unsolicited views on everything from music, movies, politics, sports, religion, pop culture, you name it. If it's happening, I'm talking about it. My thoughts unsolicited, nobody cares, but I care, and if you're listening, I think you might care a little bit too. All right, and I am back, and I am starting a new show for my channel, and it's called Watch It Again. So, what is Watch It Again? Well, Watch It Again is, as you well know, I'm a music buff, I'm a movie buff, I'm a buff of anything pop culture, entertainment, so on and so forth. So, I watch a ton of freaking movies, and if you know me, I am a screenwriter as well. So I know a lot about movies and everything, and I watch a ton of freaking movies. When I say a ton, I mean just a crap ton of movies. So I thought, why don't I start doing shows on movies where, and my concept is to convince people to watch a movie again. If you've only seen it once, hopefully our discussion will prompt you to watch it again, maybe in a different light, and maybe have a different opinion of it, and you can always chime in. So it's called Watch It Again. So that being said, I have special guests for my very first episode of Watch It Again. I have Rex and Rachel Gamble. This is Gamble, right?
That's right.
Gamble. Okay. So, Rex, Rachel, how are you?
We're well. We're doing well.
Doing great. Thanks for having us on.
We just watched it again.
Hey, see, he's working already. He watched it again. And I appreciate it. So let me ask this question starting out before we even get started on the film that we're gonna discuss today. Is just tell me a little bit about your movie background. I mean, you know, what is it that that you love about movies?
I'm going to go first because my answer will be shorter and more shallow than my husband's.
Okay.
I like watching movies that make me happy and make me laugh. If they make me cry, I want it to be happy tears. I don't do scary stuff. I like big action movies, but I also love movies like Love Actually, which I know is highly lampoonable. So I tend to watch things just to make me smile, whereas Rex has a more philosophical approach.
Yeah, I'm like you, Lonzo. I watch a movie to experience something I never experienced, or to explore, like she said, a philosophical idea or a time period. Particularly an old movie, it takes you into a time that doesn't exist anymore. And even though it's kind of that funhouse mirror view of what the modern time was, say in the 30s or 40s, it's still a window into that world. And I'll watch any kind of film as long as it is successful at the kind of film that it wants it to be. That's to me the measure of a good film. If it sets out to be something and it succeeds and it's has artistic merit of any sort, or it's just plain entertaining, I can enjoy it. That said, I'll admit I'm a cinema snob.
You're a cinema snob?
I'll admit it.
So am I, man. So hey, us snobs need to unite anyway. So I'm with that. All right on. Well, I think what you just said really dovetails well into the movie that we're going to discuss today. So, the very first movie and the very first episode of which will be hopefully be millions of Watch It Again episodes is The Matrix. Now, The Matrix was released in 1999, so it is 21 years old. So, if you've been on a desert island or or on Pluto or something like that, there's very few people in our age group, who don't know what the Matrix is. So it's a groundbreaking film directed by the Wachowski Brothers, who now happen to be the Wachowski sisters. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But directed by the Wachowski Brothers, and it stars Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Lawrence Fishburne, Joey Pantoliano, Hugo Weaving, just a great cast. And The Matrix is, I think, best known for its visual style and visual effects and its philosophical storylines. So it's a movie that really resonated with a wide cross section of audiences, and it was a huge major hit that spawned a trilogy. So that being said, The Matrix, Rex, Rachel, when The Matrix came out, I want to get your very first impression when you first heard about The Matrix way back in 1999 or 98 or whenever the first trailer came out.
Well, I'll be honest. I was 14 when it happened, and I was, you know what? I was either 14 or 15, and I was working at the mall at the time at the Chick-fil-A. It was in theaters. I thought it looked interesting. Didn't really have much of a formed opinion on movies and their artistic merit. I pretty much went to see whatever the cute boy I liked was going to see at that time. So I'm sure my thoughts were different at that time than Rex's.
Yeah, definitely, because Alonzo and I are about the same age. For me, it was definitely something I was going to see after I saw the trailer and was starting to hear little things about the story in the press. And I believe I was there the first weekend because at that time I was living in South Georgia and wasn't much else to do down there because of the movie when a new one came out this summer. So I remember going to it. I don't remember who I was with. And I remember being blown away by the story twist and by the effects equally.
Right on.
Looking back at the film now, I can't imagine a movie like Inception even happening without this movie happening first. And we can talk about that more later.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and you're definitely on the right track. Once again, I'm a movie buff, and I had this ritual, especially back in 1999. I had this ritual every Sunday. I would go to the movies. Every freaking Sunday, I would go to the movies. And I recall the first time I saw the trailer for The Matrix. I didn't know anything about the movie until I saw the first trailer, and it freaking blew me the hell away. I'm like, what did I just see? And what's going on with this movie? When is it coming out? And I'm gonna be there opening night. And the trailer to me was just that strong because it made me wonder. Now I recall seeing advertisements. What is The Matrix? What is The Matrix? I'm like, what the hell is The Matrix? Now I gotta find out. So I thought their marketing for the film was absolutely magnificent, especially back then. Keanu Reeves, he was a star, but he wasn't a top A-list go-to guy. He was the guy who got the movie after 4 or 5 guys would turn the movie down. Even though Speed kind of catapulted him into a leading man type of an action role, he still wasn't at the pinnacle quite yet. And Lawrence Fishburne, same way. I mean, he was that guy, if Denzel turned it down, so on and so forth, then it would go to him. So he wasn't, the guy at the tip top of the list as well. So that's another thing that kind of intrigued me. Well, you had these second, third tier actors in this film that looked so visually stunning. So Rex, I was there at the Thursday night screening. I was in Macon, Georgia, at the Thursday night screening. And what I would usually do is go to the movies by myself. I love going to the movies by myself because I ain't worry about some chick hanging on me and all this kind of stuff and bugging me and and asking me to go get popcorn or want to make out or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So what?
I totally know what you mean.
Absolutely, man. So I would always go to the movies by myself first, and if I dug the movie enough to where I'll say, hey, whatever girl I'm dating at the time would like it, then I would take her and see it again.
It's a good plan, actually.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. I dig it.
Yeah, you know how y'all do.
Yeah, plan, right?
You know how y'all do, Rachel. And Rex, you can attest to this. And if folks out there listening, you can attest to this. If you're a movie buff, you're a guy, and you're a movie buff, and you go to the movies with a girl, you know what I mean? There comes a moment during each film. It could be early, could be late. There comes a moment during each film where you want to say, "Shut the fuck up."
Although when you get married and you've been together for several years, that changes.
It changes to what?
It changes to, do you want to refill the popcorn or do you want me to? I have to pee. Get out of my way. Can you give me some candy? No, get it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So So yeah, so I got into that habit, like I said, of just watching a film and then bringing whatever girl you know to the second screening of the film or whatever. So it's a costly way to do things, but when you're dedicated to your craft, damn it, you're dedicated to your craft. So
That's true.
Respect.
That's true.
Nothing but respect.
I wanted to talk a little bit about what you mentioned earlier about the cast not being exactly A-list
right.
actor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Carrie Ann Moss was even very well known before this movie came out. She'd done some TV before that, and yeah, Keanu was established as a lead, but he was taking parts in art house movies as often as he was things like Speed or Dangerous Liaison. And I think that the reason why the cast is what it is in this movie is because they spent all their money on the effects. And that had to eat that budget up at that time because those are some groundbreaking effects, and they happen throughout the film. It's not just there's this one set piece. There's something going on every 5 minutes that audiences hadn't seen before.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the Wachowski brothers, they hadn't made when they first pitched this film, they hadn't made a movie yet. They started out as writers. They wrote Assassins, the movie with Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas. They wrote that film and sold it to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers loved the script, so they said, "Okay, we'll take a couple more of your films," and they pitched The Matrix. They wanted to direct The Matrix, which would have been their directorial debut. And Warner Brothers was like, "Nah, you guys are unproven. We don't want to give you that kind of loot to do this film. So you need to do something else." So they wrote a movie called Bound, and that was their directorial debut, which is a low-budget film, and it was a huge hit. So have you seen Bound, Rex and Rachel?
Is that the Gina Gershon picture?
Yes, with Jennifer Tilly.
I have not seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see it.
You haven't seen Bound yet? Wow.
No.
Okay. So
I'm bound to see it though.
I won't spoil it for you, but the film it was an art house type of a film. It was an independent film, a small budget, and it was a huge critical success. It didn't make a whole lot of money, but it took place in just a couple locations, bare bones budget, very well made film, very well written, and their visual style really lent itself. It lets you know that these guys had a flair of their own. So I highly suggest at some point you guys watch Bound, and there is some stuff that goes in that film that that a lot of people. Well, I'm not going to ruin it for you, so I'll just leave it at that.
That'll be a future episode of Watch It Again.
Right on. Absolutely. And so the budget for The Matrix, which was a lot back then, nowadays not a whole lot, was $60 million. So you're right. It was top heavy budgeted in regards to its special effects.
I think the location shoot being in Sydney probably saved them a little bit of money.
Oh yeah. I'm sure the credits down there, and obviously, was much cheaper than maybe shooting in L.A. or New York or someplace like that. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
But it works because people, at least in America, don't recognize those buildings, so you don't quite know where this is taking place. It's not in a place that has a history cinematically for us. And they didn't even show the Sydney Opera House. It's just generic city somewhere.
Right, because the Opera House, definitely would have been like a dead giveaway. Me personally, I thought it was Chicago. So I always thought it was Chicago for some reason.
Part of it was filmed in Nashville also.
Oh, word? See, I had no idea.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That first rooftop chase was filmed in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the rest of the city scenes were in Sydney, Australia.
Wow. See, once again, you learn something new every day, and I had no idea.
I learned that today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I think it's important to note, and if you want to bring this up later, if this isn't the right time, that when we watched this movie, it was my first viewing, but my 5th attempt at watching it.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that. How is it you can attempt to watch The Matrix of all movies 5 times?
All right. So as I said, I was a teenager when it came out, and for whatever reason, I didn't end up seeing it in theaters. I saw every rom-com you could imagine, every teenage angst movie that came out, but but I just never went and saw this one. And the first time that I ever had the opportunity to watch it was at a church youth group party, and I fell asleep. And I remember everyone being very, very excited about it. I probably had too much sugar because we all brought snacks. It was one of those things. And I fell asleep. So I remember like the first 10 minutes, and then I fell asleep. Fast forward a few years, I'm dating a guy who wants to watch it. He was shocked I'd never seen it. I fell asleep again. 2 more times I have attempted to watch it, and I was either got distracted or fell asleep again. It just never grabbed me. And if the movie doesn't grab me right off the bat, I have a hard time watching it. So being with Rex, we watch a lot of movies, and then he mentioned, okay, we're going to watch The Matrix and do this podcast. So I was like, all right, I'll do it, but I've never seen it. It'll be my first viewing. It has been hyped up now for, 21 years. So
mention your boss.
Oh, my boss gives me crap about it all the time. Anytime anything happens, well, your opinion doesn't count because you've never seen The Matrix. Well, I don't trust what you say because you've never seen The Matrix.
I agree. I can't fully trust anyone who's never seen The Matrix. I can't.
So it's kind of become like a running joke or a trope in my life that, she's never seen The Matrix. So at this point, it's been so hyped up that I'm expecting like Casablanca level greatness, right? So we finally watched it last night. And Rex, of course, has seen it, but this was my first viewing. It wasn't a rewatch for me. It was a first watch. So my opinions will be different from you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can pick up on the vibe there. So this is going to be very interesting. So I can't wait. All right, a couple more fun facts about the film. Okay, when it comes to casting, it was originally pitched to Will Smith. The lead role of Neo was pitched to Will Smith. Will, if you watch YouTube, Will actually addresses the pitch that the Wachowski brothers made to him as to why he didn't do it. He said when they pitched the movie to him, the concept, they really didn't explain it to him. They were like talking to him like they were like skater or surfer dudes. They're like, dude, we're gonna have like these cameras, dude, and the cameras are gonna like be all around you and make you look like you're gonna be like floating and everything, dude. He said that's where they pitched it to him. He was like, what the fuck? I can't do this movie. I don't understand what you're saying. You know, you're not giving me a visual a good visual pitch. So he turned it down. And of course now he says he regrets turning down Neo. So there you have it.
There's no story in that pitch, though. It's just the effect.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'll admit this is a difficult story to describe.
Yeah.
But the effect wouldn't have sold me.
I read that he turned it down to do Wild Wild West.
Yes, he did.
Which is hilarious because that movie was not great, but it was a whole lot of fun.
I've never seen Wild Wild West in its entirety. To me, it's that bad. To me, I was like, man, I've seen bits and pieces of it. Eventually, I'll watch it all. Yeah, but no. Will, yeah. If you're out there listening, Will, you fucked up. Okay.
That's fair. He turned out all right.
Yeah, he did. So originally, it was going to be Will Smith as Neo and Val Kilmer as Morpheus. So when Will dropped out, Val dropped out. Also, it was also pitched to Russell Crowe for Morpheus and Samuel L. Jackson, which is amazing that because Sam Jackson don't turn down shit. He'll do anything. And so he turned down The Matrix. So that's amazing in itself. And thinking about it, I can't see Sam Jackson doing martial arts, but at some point he's got to say motherfucker. So I would love him being in the film just to see him say, maybe call Agent Smith a motherfucker or something. So
Totally see it.
Yeah, like look, motherfucker, you're not getting the codes to the Matrix, motherfucker, or something. So, and you're right, Rex, about Carrie-Anne Moss. I think she's from New Zealand or Australia. And she'd done a lot of TV, obviously, in her homeland. But as far as in America, she was an unknown quantity. She wasn't a big name star or anything like that. And obviously, this film, basically made her career. So,
yeah,
you're absolutely right there. All right. So we've talked about the backstory and the background and everything of the Matrix. Now we're gonna briefly talk about just what the movie is about. Now, once again, the movie's 21 years old, and if you haven't seen the Matrix by now, except for Rachel, you're probably never gonna watch it. So spoilers. I'm gonna spoil the shit out of this movie. So you know so. So if you don't want to get spoiled, then you shouldn't be listening to this podcast anyway because your ass don't like movies. So that being said, right. Yeah, exactly. So piss off. All right. In a nutshell. Oh, by the way, you placed a thought in my head. Obviously, I'm a screenwriter. I have written, good lord, probably about 20 screenplays. I've sold 5, 6 of them. Only one has been produced so far, but I've sold quite a few. And I've pitched a ton. And I can feel Will Smith's pain when he was talking about the pitch, because pitching is hard. It's hard to pitch a movie, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I still have not mastered the craft of pitching a movie. And so I get, especially if you're trying to pitch it to a star like Will Smith, I can see how maybe the Wachowski brothers got kind of flustered and couldn't really explain it to him, because right. I think it's definitely a skill to pitching that if you master that, then that'll put you head and shoulders above a lot of people. So anyway,
I also read about this film in particular that the screenplay was complex and a lot of people didn't grasp it, and that's why a lot of actors turned it down, because it was such a complex screenplay. And so I do think from that aspect it is a cinematic masterpiece, that it was able to be transformed from a complex screenplay into something visual. So from like a filmmaking standpoint, I can absolutely recognize and admire the art of that.
Yeah, just the pure storytelling of it. To take a lot of science fiction, particularly the written science fiction, is very complicated. And these guys did a masterful job of taking a complicated story and telling it in an audio-visual medium. And there have been a lot of copiers out there, but nobody's really achieved what they've achieved. Again, I would say till maybe Christopher Nolan, 20 years later or whatever.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And actually, once again, I'm glad you brought that up, because after the failed Will Smith pitch, they actually hired someone to actually storyboard the entire film. They did I did a 600-page storyboard. Shot by shot, every scene in the film, and that really kind of helped them along their way, and that is what helped them seal the deal with Warner Brothers to go ahead and get them to greenlight it. So you're absolutely right. It's a film that's, I've read the script, and it is hard. It's a hard read. It really is. So I get that. So
that's a proven method. Ridley Scott did that himself with Alien.
Oh, he did?
Drew his own storyboard. Yeah, it worked for him, and so I don't blame him for following the same successful strategy with a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that being said, once again, I got a list of questions we're gonna go through. 9 questions. I want to keep it less than 10, so it'll make it a little. You don't want to bog down your show with too much information. So I capped myself at 9. So every show I do, it'll be a 9-question format, or 9-subject format. So we've talked about the intro, we've talked about the cast. Now we're going to talk about what you like the most about the film. And Rex, I'm going to start with you on this, because I want to juxtapose you as someone who's seen it and privy to it versus Rachel, who is not. So go.
Okay, well, on this one, I'd have to say I like the story the most. I think a lot of people would still even find it confusing watching it. And I think that the casual viewer would struggle to keep up with it, because there's new plot wrinkles revealed every 5 minutes or so. It's really got a breakneck pace to it, even though my son's criticism was there's a lot of exposition along the way. It didn't slow the movie down. It always propelled the story forward. Every moment of the film moved things forward. And I could get off onto a tangent, or I can save it till later, on the religious overtones of this movie, but that might fit better later in the podcast.
Okay, Rachel.
What I liked the most, I liked the visual effects. As someone who works in videography, I found it interesting the way it was shot and the graphic elements. They did some pretty unique stuff for the time period. It was right at the height of when CGI started being incredible. And so I found that aspect very interesting. I also like the soundtrack a whole lot.
What do you like, Alonzo?
What I like the most is, once again, like most folks, the visual effects and everything. When it comes to movies, for someone who's seen as many as I've seen, as someone who writes movies, I love it when I'm shown something I've never seen before, or shown something I've seen before, but in an interesting way. So from the very first scene in this film, the very first scene when they're trying to arrest Trinity, the way that the cinematography and the shots that they use are very original, okay, and they're cinematic, but they also are immersive, and obviously just everything that happened in that opening action sequence, like you said, it always propels the story forward, and you don't know what's going on, okay. And I love how they showed me how they presented the intro to this story. It was in a way that I'd never seen before. And that's what I love most about it. And as you go through the movie, they're just sledgehammering you with stuff that you've never seen before. Oh, you hadn't seen this before? Oh, wait to this scene. Now I'm gonna top it with this. Now I'm gonna top it with that. Now I'm gonna top it with this. And by the time you get to the bullet time sequence, you're like, fucking A. You know what I mean? You know, it was like an orgasm of so what?
Yeah. It's mind blowing at that point.
Exactly.
It tops the thing that you just saw. You think, oh, well, that's the best thing that's going to be in this movie. And then wait 5 minutes. Here it comes. Something else. Never seen before. You're right. I agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So when a movie does that to me, I'm all in. Cause I recall sitting in that theater. It was a midnight showing. Sitting in that theater, you know, with my mouth wide open for 2 hours straight. I'm like, damn, you know. And it's one of those most memorable movie experiences for me, especially up to that point in my life. And once again, this is someone who's seen a trillion movies, so that's a bold statement coming from me. Not like I'm anybody important, but anyways.
When you're upstairs, you recognize what that is. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. So now let's flip it. We're gonna start with you, Rachel. What'd you like least about it?
Wait, how long did you say this should go?
Hey, the floor is yours.
I will preface this by saying, and I'm sure everyone can relate to this movie has been so hyped up for so long that I was expecting my mind to be blown. Like I said earlier, some level of Casablanca greatness. And I know it's a different kind of film. My favorite sci-fi film is The Fifth Element, which a lot of people hate, but I could rewatch it a million times. Anyway, so I don't know what I was expecting. I tried to suspend my expectations. I thought it was too convoluted and that it took itself too seriously. I absolutely hated the way that Trinity fell in love with Neo. There was nothing there to make them fall in love, to merit her saying, I love you. They're escaping death together in this madness that wasn't even that well explained, and Neo gets thrown into this thing that he doesn't even understand, and then all of a sudden she's in love with him. I think all that did is perpetuate the trope that women are props in movies rather than human beings, and it really pissed me off. That's probably my least favorite thing about it.
Okay, Rick, do you want to attack that, or should I attack it?
I'll touch on it.
Okay.
It was one of the things that troubled me about the story as well.
Oh my God. Okay, go ahead.
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Trinity's love for Neo is revealed by the Oracle about halfway through the movie. And I can see where, from a screenwriting perspective, they want her to fall in love with him because he's kind of this savior figure, if you will. But that love is not developed at all until it's needed for a plot device at the end where he's resurrected, basically. And if there had been more in between the oracles saying, "Can't you tell she loves you?" and her expressing that love in a way that resurrects them, I probably would have not even thought anything of it. But the lack of something in between there. There's a lot of action in there in between, and I guess maybe something was left out of the story. But that did jump out at me. I'll tell you though, what I like least about it, and I know you're going to come back to Trinity, but the agents fired tons of bullets at these people, and they almost never hit anything except the columns around them.
Are they stormtroopers?
That's what I was going to say. They're like the Star Wars stormtroopers in this movie. I know they're not in a real place, and maybe that has something to do with it because kind of if Neo doesn't think he's going to get shot, then he won't get shot, right? But those were the only two quibbles I had with it. To me, those are minor quibbles. But you go ahead on Trinity.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot holes in both things. You guys just said. Okay, I'm gonna shoot holes in both of them. All right. Okay. First of all, Trinity. All right. When the story begins, basically in the middle of the action. Okay. And there are things that you have to kind of pick up on because a lot of things that happen before the movie actually opens. So
that's fair.
So Trinity and Morpheus and everyone had been watching Neo for months on end, day after day, night after night. They had been watching him. That is why she fell in love with him from watching him over and over and over again, watching everything that he's doing in the Matrix. That is what caused her to fall in love with him. Of course, the Oracle was like, you're going to fall in love with the one. And obviously, they've been tracking him as being the one. And she is the one, who was probably watching him more than anyone else. So that is why she fell in love with him. She was already in love with him when the story opens. But it's just not shown or expressed. But you pick up on that.
Stalking?
I'm sorry?
Isn't that kind of stalking?
Yeah, kind of. Now I'm going to juxtapose this. I'm going to juxtapose this against another movie that you may or may not have seen. Have you seen a movie called Sharky's Machine?
I'm trying to get a copy of it, frankly.
Okay.
I know I can stream it. I can pay to stream it, but I'm trying to get a hold of it.
Yeah, it's available, I think, on Prime. Anyways, it's my favorite Burt Reynolds film. Okay.
Atlanta.
Yeah, shot in Atlanta, directed by Burt Reynolds as well. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but the premise of the film is he plays a cop who is watching a call girl, okay, and he's tracking her, and as the story goes along, he falls in love with her just from watching her day after day, night after night after night. That is what it reminds me of. So when he finally does profess his love for her, then you buy it because of the way that he's reacting to watching her night after night, day after day. That is the same thing, my same takeaway from The Matrix. So if you didn't pick up on it, that might be why. But she says, "I've been watching you." So in the very first time they meet, she tells him that she's been watching him. So if you can remember, at the very right before at the very intro of the film, before they even start the action sequence, it's her and Cypher talking, and he's asking her, "Are you watching him?" So that lets you know that's the very first line of dialogue. Actually, is Cypher talking to Trinity about her watching him. So
well, it's a leap to go from watching somebody to being in love with them, though. If it wasn't presented in the story, that's my quibble.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wasn't illustrated by the story, and maybe I missed something, but we both missed it, I guess. And I've seen this movie. This is my third viewing. I'll go back and look at it again, though.
Okay, well, I've seen it probably 100 times. So I guess I so I guess I'm speaking from someone who's really kind of really immersed themselves in it. So I get that.
You are steeped in it.
Yes,
sir.
Yes, I am steeped in it. And as far as your other point about the bullets missing them in the shootout in the lobby, the shootout in the lobby is slowed down. Now, if and that is something you have to kind of imagine, and they leave that to your imagination. But if it was running in real time, then Trinity and Neo are moving 10 times as fast. That's why they're missing.
That's right.
So it's slow. So you basically, even though it looks like real time to us, in actuality, inside of the Matrix, it's 10 times as fast. So that is why they're being missed. So
I can accept that.
yeah. So, anyways, I know I went on a tangent. Sorry, but what I liked least about the film was its runtime. I felt that there are some scenes that ran on just a little bit too long. That where the exposition where we're getting what we need, but we're getting just a little bit too much of what we need, especially when Morpheus is explaining the Matrix to him in the first act of the film. That's important information, but once again, as a writer, it's all about show don't tell. He did a lot of telling, where I think the audience is better served by more seeing than telling. So that's my quibble with the film. So
that's fair, and that was I was kind of talking about that. I was okay with it, but you're right. Anytime a cinematographer, a filmmaker can show an idea, can present an idea visually without saying this is what this is, without having to say that. It's like the difference between if you read comics, like showing what happens versus telling it in a caption. It's the same concept, just in film.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, as a writer, that's one of the things I learned early on, is to write visually. And obviously the Wachowskis are great visual storytellers, but I think they I don't think they trusted the audience enough, to truncate some of those scenes. That's my takeaway from it. And they did that in The Matrix Reloaded and in Revolutions as well. So.
I guess I gotta go back and watch those movies now too.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Yeah, especially since you didn't like it, I don't know.
See if it makes a difference with the sequel.
It could. I think it would. Yeah. All right. The next subject. How would you describe it? So, if I always like to use the example, if an alien came to from Mars to Earth, and he or she asks you, hey, tell me about this Matrix film. How would you describe it?
It's hard to describe, but I tried to put it in a sentence. Mm-hmm. A man learns that his life is not what he thought it was, and that there are forces trying to keep him enslaved.
I like that. Yeah, that nails it. That's a good log line. I like that. Yeah.
No, that's good. Yeah. I'm trying to think how I would describe it without being biased on my opinions. Dude discovers that the world he thinks he knows is a simulation. Mm-hmm. And there are people who want to reveal that, but other people don't, so they get in a fight. That's probably the most simplistic.
To someone who's seen a lot of older movies, I would say this is like a French Resistance movie, but it's a sci-fi version. And the humans are the French Resistance, basically. And he's recruited into the French Resistance once he understands what they're fighting for.
It's very interesting. I like that. I never thought of that.
They're fighting for.
They're fighting for freedom from the machine, from the Matrix.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in the Matrix.
So are they like the only people?
They're the only ones that are self-aware, other than, I guess, the ones in Zion.
Yeah, the natural born people in Zion, yeah, or the folks that I guess a lot of folks in Zion have been freed from the Matrix. Yeah.
I suspect they get more into Zion in the later movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They sure do. The way that I would describe it is it's a superhero origin story told in the most modern way or futuristic way possible. Because Neo is a superhero. And this is, at its core, it is a origin story. But the way that it is presented is in a way that no other superhero film has ever been presented. So that's how I would pitch it to someone from Neptune.
You're 100% correct. Is this an appropriate place to talk about religious overtones?
Do it, man.
All right, because I took some crap for you last night when I started talking about it.
Uh-oh.
Well, let me explain real quick before you start. The the reason he took crap for it, as he says, is I'm sitting here trying to absorb this confusing movie for the first time, and he keeps interjecting all these like philosophical things, and all it did was turn my brain into a bigger pile of mush. And so me and my stepson were like, hold up, let's get through the movie first, and then you can further confuse me with your philosophical musings. And it's interesting, and I appreciate Rex's viewpoint, because like I said, the first time I ever tried to watch this movie was in youth group when I was a teenager, and that's why they showed it to us, was because of these alleged religious overtones. So all of that to be said, I think you have some good points, Rex, that you are about to say.
Okay, well, and everything she said is accurate. This is my third viewing, and I hadn't thought about the religious nature of the film until this particular viewing. It's been a long time since I've seen it, probably 10 years. But early on, Morpheus describes the Matrix as being everywhere. It's all around us. And it's like he's describing the Judeo-Christian God. And then Neo is told that he's the one, and that's basically Jesus. He's a savior. And he's going to lead humans from enslavement to freedom. In fact, we see him born again at the moment he awakens in the Matrix. He's born into a new world. And later he dies and he's resurrected. Not to be too obvious, but if you move the letter O from the end of his name to the beginning, Neo is respelled as one.
Yeah, true.
And other names suggest a religious connotation as well. You've got Trinity.
Yep.
You've got Nebuchadnezzar, and of course Zion.
Morpheus.
Yep. Right. So all of that stuff just kind of it's not gonna, the movie's not telling you this is a religious movie, but it is using. It's not unusual for literature and film as literature to take from scripture and from the concepts of Christianity and other religions in the purpose of telling a story, because those stories from the Bible are very familiar to people, and it helps them understand the story that they're telling, I think. And I just thought it was interesting. I don't think the Wachowskis are trying to put a religious point across, but I thought it was an interesting twist on a sci-fi story, a sci-fi superhero story.
You know what? I agree with you 100% on that, and that's something I picked up on. The first time I saw it. Liking it to someone who's like a born again Christian, because Noah, my son's name is Noah, religious name. Neo tells Morpheus early on in the film, when they take him out of the Matrix, I can't see, and he said, because you never used your eyes before. So
that's right.
So he's awakening. It's like a spiritual, like you said, awakening, and you can definitely correlate that to someone who's a born again Christian, like saying then freeing the enslaved, to Zion. So yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. So I feel you on that. So you got anything?
Gives the film some different layers of meaning as well. It makes it more than just a simple story.
Yeah.
They're not telling a simple story at all,
no,
anyway.
Not at all. And I think it makes the film more mature.
It is. You're right.
Yeah, but once again, it's a fun. They tell it in a fun, engaging way. So I can see, maybe a teenager or a young person, wanting to learn more about maybe about religion, about the Bible, just from watching this film. Kind of just opening up a different pathway into Christianity. Yeah.
I think that's true. And when you look at, going back to comics, when you look at guys like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, who were both Jewish, creating hero myths out of the Joseph Campbell playbook, they're all telling stories from religion, really. They're all telling heroic tales about good people that are winning over evil. Anyway, that was my religious tangent.
Right on. I feel you on that. All right. Next topic. Recasting. Now, we're going to do 2 recastings. Okay? We're going to recast with old school Hollywood and recast with new school Hollywood. Okay? So we're going to start with old school. Now, I'll start here. Okay? And we're gonna recast the three leads: Trinity, Neo, and Morpheus. Okay. And I guess, and let's also recast Agent Smith as well, the villain.
I got one for Agent Smith. So go ahead.
Okay. So if I was recasting with the old school, say this film was going to be made in 1970 or 60 or something, I would cast Burt Reynolds as Neo. Okay. I would cast Jane Fonda as Trinity.
Not Raquel Welch.
No, not Raquel Welch. No, I think that Jane would have been better at the action portion of it. You know, I think she would have been a better, action. Morpheus, and now I'm gonna step outside the box and not do the Bill Cosby or Sidney Poitier or Richard Pryor or whatever. If I was recasting Morpheus, I would pick Jim Kelly. For Morpheus, and for Agent Smith, I would love to see a famous A-lister in the role of Agent Smith, kind of just tearing this role to pieces. I would cast Paul Newman as Agent Smith. So
really,
yes, yeah, I think Paul.
He didn't play the heavy very often.
Exactly. Once again, someone against type, because Paul was a very versatile actor. He didn't play the baddie that many times, like you said, but his versatility, I just loved his versatility as an actor, especially during his heyday, and I definitely would have looked at him. I know Brando probably been everybody's choice, maybe, but my choice would have been Paul Newman. So there you have it.
Brando couldn't have done the fight.
So what? The fighting? Nah, he's too lazy. Yeah, exactly.
The thing, I was talking to my dad about Paul Newman last week, and the thing that I've always thought about Paul Newman is he can take a bad screenplay and make a good movie out of it.
Absolutely.
Just being in it.
Yes.
Just him being in a movie made it better.
Yes. Agreed. So.
Well, Rachel's probably got some interesting ideas. I didn't follow the instructions. Or I may have misunderstood the instructions of this because I went old school 30s, 40s Hollywood.
Yeah, old school anybody. I mean, anyone, that's fine. Anyone old school.
I only have new school picks because
that's all she knows.
That's pretty much all I know. So I would let Rex go, and then I can throw mine in for the next question because I don't know as many old school people.
Okay, that's
so when somebody says old school Hollywood to me, I'm thinking about the 40s. 1939 being the pinnacle of the Hollywood era. But then the next thing I thought was, well, there's no way they would have had a diverse cast in this movie back then.
True.
And that would be a shame.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way they were. So I tried to envision, what would the movie like this be like if it were made in 1949 or something like that?
Okay.
Who might they put in it?
I'm interested.
So,
yeah.
I could see Burt Lancaster as Neo. He was pretty young around that time, very active. He was actually an acrobat.
Oh, was he?
That's how he was a circus acrobat. He was.
Oh.
He would have been good for the action side of the role.
Yeah.
And then I saw maybe Hedy Lamarr as Trinity. Kind of a brainy action star. And then. Ray Milland or Ronald Coleman as Morpheus. I was a little gray on. I couldn't figure. I was envisioning an older person in that role for classic Hollywood. And then, but my kicker is that Agent Smith is Humphrey Bogart.
Ooh.
Ah, yeah. Okay. I feel you on that one, man. Yeah.
You've seen him play the baddie.
Yeah. Okay.
It would have been more interesting than Hugo Weaving, I think.
Totally see Bogey there.
I like that. Okay. All right. But, me, old school, for Morpheus, I would have picked, if you're going with an older guy, I would have gone with Thomas Mitchell. That would have been Thomas Mitchell?
Thomas Mitchell, I got you.
Yeah. So.
I got you.
Do you know who Thomas Mitchell is, Rachel?
Nope.
Cute as he seen him in It's a Wonderful Life because I showed that to her recently.
Oh yeah, I was made to watch that recently. Just kidding, it was really good.
All right, so who'd you? So you don't have an old school choice at all, Rachel?
I mean, I love, so I call this dream casting. And I love playing the game of dream casting where you remake something with different actors or actresses, where you swap genders, swap races, all of that.
Okay.
So I would put somebody like, let me think old school people. Somebody like Charlotte Rampling as Morpheus. Or...
she's pretty old now.
She's old now, so I'm talking about like if they were like the 70s or something.
Yeah.
And I would put gosh, I can't even think. Like I'm drawing a blank on actors and actresses right now. Like I'd have to think through it. But I would want to see a tough, kind of stoic woman in the role of Morpheus. I think that would really go over well.
Okay, I can see that.
Thing.
I can see that with Charlotte. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh yeah, she's. My first exposure to her was when she was in Dexter, but then I've seen several of her films since then, and she's incredible.
Well, let's talk about 1980s Helen Mirren, though.
Helen Mirren.
Ooh, Helen Mirren. Yeah, Caligula. Helen Mirren. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, got you on that.
As far as like Neo and Trinity, gosh, I don't. I'm just drawing a blank on older actors and actresses. Like, maybe, what's her name? You know what? This is going to be a boring part of the podcast if I sit here and try and figure this out.
That's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
If it comes to you to come back.
Yeah, we can go back. We can come back.
My new school picks.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. New school.
I would want to see Benedict Cumberbatch as Agent Smith. He's good at.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would cast someone like Zendaya as Trinity.
I see that.
I love Zendaya. She is a great actress. From Spider-Man to Greatest Showman. Just great. Neo. Somebody young and...
I got Neo.
Who's your Neo? I'm curious.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. I would honestly cast Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, in every role of every film because I love him so much. So I think that he could play Neo, and it would be interesting. But he's also, he's good for more spunky parts. And then, who's the other one? Morpheus. Current actors and actresses, someone who could play Morpheus. I don't know, man. I wish I would have thought about this ahead of time so I'd be more prepared.
It's fine. I like your choices, though.
Yeah, I want to hear your ideas, because this is not my wheelhouse. I'm not a cinephile.
Who's next, you or me?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, so for me, it's Donnie Yen as Morpheus. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Donnie, yes, I am. Yes, absolutely.
The star of It Man.
Yeah,
And
Hitman, yeah.
Tatiana Maslany as Trinity.
Yeah.
I want to cast the Oracle. I want it to be Julianne Moore.
Ah, yes. Versatile, yes.
And my Neo is Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, yeah, that's even better.
And Agent Smith is Tom Hardy all day.
Okay.
I mean, however, there is a Matrix 4 in production, so I don't know that they're going to remake Matrix 1 anytime soon.
I would want to just gender swap all the roles.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Well, Michael B. Jordan, they had actually pitched young Morpheus to Michael B. Jordan for The Matrix 4, but I think he turned it down.
Did?
Yeah, they pitched it to him, yeah.
Okay.
I think he turned it down, though.
Well, that's cool. You're close on your dream casting.
Yeah. Close. Yeah, you almost nailed it there. My new school cast...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to make a joke, but I'm more curious to hear your pick.
Okay. My choice for the role of Neo, I guess I'm gonna go with low hanging fruit. I would like to see like a younger, naive type of an actor in that role. So the kid that plays Spider-Man, what's his name? Tom Holland. I would love to see him as Neo. For the role of Morpheus, I want a rapper to play Morpheus. My choice would be T.I. I love T.I. as an actor.
So, I could see he's a good actor too.
Yes. I would pick him as whatchamacallit, as Morpheus. My choice for Trinity would be someone I know personally, so I'm being a little bit biased, but I think she's a magnificent actress. Keke Palmer.
I could totally see that.
Yeah, she would be my Trinity, and my Agent Smith. Yeah, Tom Hardy all day long, twice on Sunday. Absolutely, Tom Hardy for.
You guys agree? That's interesting. Y'all both did that.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy can do anything he tries to do.
Yeah. I love Tom Hardy.
I do too.
And the fact that he pulled off Mad Max, that made me a lifetime fan of. Cause I could never even imagine anyone besides Mel Gibson playing Max, but I loved him in Mad Max. So
that was great.
Yes.
I think that was the best Mad Max movie.
Whoa! Pump your damn brakes. Wait a minute. Did you what?
Here we go.
Are you drunk, Rachel? What is he drinking?
Nope.
He's not drinking right now, and the thing is, I've never seen the other one, so I have no reference point.
Dude, The Road Warrior is one of the greatest action films ever made.
It is. I just like Fury Road better.
I love Fury. I think Fury Road is magnificent, but dude, Road Warrior is like in my top 5 action films of all time, ever. Dude.
I love it.
Oh my God.
I don't have anything bad to say about Road Warrior.
How could you pick Fury Road over Road Warrior, man?
I just like it better. I don't know why. Maybe Tom Hardy. Maybe it's the pace of the film. They're different movies, but they're both great.
Booby Trap. Touch those tanks in. Come on, man. Come on. You know, Mel only has 27 lines of dialogue in Road Warrior. Yeah.
Hardy didn't spend much on Max either.
He's a quiet hero. Yes. Max is a quiet hero. But dude, we gonna have to do a rewatchable. I mean, not rewatch. Watch it again on Road Warrior, man. You hit a nerve with that one. Okay. Hit me in the core there. Okay. All right. All right. Who stole the movie? Rachel, who stole it? Who stole the movie? The actor who's like, just chewed up the scenes, and every scene he was in, you're like, okay, yeah, he got this.
I liked the kid who played Mouse. But if I were going to go with one of the leads, it would be Lawrence Fishburne, because I like him anyways.
Really, Mouse? He stole the movie? Mouse was fine, but wow, okay.
Well, yeah, but that is from my perspective of liking things that are funny and silly and playful, and he was from the get-go a funny, silly, and playful character. Yeah. And, I mean, he wasn't a major player in the movie, but those are elements of film that I notice and remember the most, are the things that make me laugh or chuckle or the comic relief.
I'm glad you brought that up. Fun fact, the actor who plays Mouse actually wrote the scene in the film where he gets killed. He wrote that scene. Yeah, the whole glitch with the cat, all that, he wrote that. So.
That is interesting.
Oh, that's an excellent scene.
Yes, it is.
He earned his place in the movie.
Yes, he did. He wrote that. Mm-hmm.
And he's gone on to bigger and better things, I think. He didn't have much to do in this movie.
No, he didn't. But yeah, but he is a memorable character, though, so you're absolutely right in that regard. So,
but if I were going to go with one of the leads, though, I would say Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus.
I mean, whoever you thought stole it, that's fine. Whether it's a minor character or a major character, it really doesn't matter. If you think he stole it, he stole it, yeah. So, Rex, who stole the movie?
It's Keanu's movie. I don't think anybody took it away from him. The screenplay centers around him. The story is told through his perspective. All of the leads are strong in the film, and nobody's really weak. None of them is. They're all performing performing up to their par. And the things that I like about Lawrence Fishburne's performance all have to do with the story, with the subtleties of the character. He drew it out, but he's not a scene stealer. You know, the cool thing about, and I'm only talking about Fishburne because she talked about him, but his character is a sympathetic character because he so wants to find the one. He's looking for that person who's gonna bring them all to freedom, and the earnestness came through in his performance. I don't think Samuel Jackson, getting back to what you were saying, could have pulled that off. So
No.
From that perspective, I see where she's coming from with Fishburne. But I think it's Keanu's movie. And he's front and center in every scene that he's in. He's the avatar for the audience in the story.
Just a little fun side note. The previous 2 nights before we watched The Matrix, we had watched other Keanu Reeves movies. We watched both of the Bill and Ted movies. So this was the 3rd Keanu movie, and it was quite a far cry from the other 2. And I think it's interesting that that happened in that order, that we decided to watch it, because it did show his range. And so I think what you're saying is a great point as well.
I think it might show his versatility, but I've never seen Bill and Ted, either one of the movies.
Oh.
Never seen them. No.
They are fun, happy, silly movies. And the new one is the movie that 2020 needed.
The first one's worth watching. I haven't seen the new one yet.
So it's on my list of things to do. So I guess I'll move it up the list of my things to do and make sure I watch it soon. So
Don't check your brain at the door movies, but that's what makes them so endearing.
I'll give it a shot. Like I said, I've always had it in the back of my mind, just never got around to watching it. So, but yeah, I'm definitely going to give it a chance, if nothing else.
Right.
So,
who stole the movie for you?
who stole the movie from me? The guy who steals every scene he's ever in and any movie he's ever been in his life. Joey Pants, man. I love me some Joey Pants. You know a movie's going to be good if Joey Pants is in it, man. That dude is
He had a great party.
Yes, he did. That guy is incapable of being bad in any movie. He's incapable. That dude is an actor's actor,
He is.
So
He is.
so if Joey Pants is in a movie, damn it, I'm watching it. Why oh why didn't I take the blue pill? So yeah, the levity they brought to it, I knew from the very beginning that he was gonna be a bad guy. I could just tell. But I mean,
You can just tell.
yeah. But every scene that he was in, I totally believed it. I believe the fact, I knew like from the very beginning that he was in love with Trinity. I could tell. I mean, so it just, and the Wachowskis love him because he's in Bound as well.
Okay.
So they put him in a lot of stuff. So if Joey Pants is in a movie, then I'm definitely watching it. So a movie that Joey Pants is in that a lot of folks may not have never seen that I highly recommend is from the 1980s, a film called The Idolmaker. So if you've never seen Idolmaker, yes.
I heard of it. Who's
Yes.
in it besides him?
Ray Sharkey, a young Peter Gallagher is in it.
Okay.
It's a story about a guy. It's based on a true story of the guy who discovered a lot of singing stars in the 60s, like Fabian, those type of teen idols.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a music based film. Great film with great music. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend The Idolmaker. And Ray Sharkey stars in the film, and he that's a film that I think he should have won an Oscar, or at least been nominated for an Oscar. He was that good in the film. So the late great Ray Sharkey.
Okay.
So that's my pitch for The Idolmaker.
I'm in.
Right on. All right, who overacted in the film? So I'm gonna start here. Who overacted? Joey Pants overacted too. He stole it and he overacted, but that's just Joey Pants. Like I said, dude just dominates every scene he's in. And I would think that Joey Pants is probably an actor that either you love working with him as an actor, or if you see he's gonna be cast in the film, you're like, damn, can I get out of this movie? Because he's gonna steal every scene he's fucking in. And I think actors like that, it takes a special amount of charisma and talent and stick-to-itiveness to be that good in everything that you do. So.
Yeah. I can see that.
I thought he was a little restrained in this movie, to be honest.
You're right. I mean, from some of the the normal Joy Pants performances, yeah. For him, he did dial it down a little bit, but he was still overacting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, for me, Hugo Weaving chewed every scene he was in, but I didn't feel like he was over the top. He was just his usual dramatic self, and I like him, so it didn't bother me at all.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
Well, my last name is Anderson, right? So if I had $1 for every time somebody said Mr. Anderson to me, I would be a billionaire.
Yeah.
All right. Who overacted, Rachel?
Yeah, I'm gonna catch heat for this, but I think the entire thing was overacted. This goes back to my complaint about the movie taking itself too seriously. And I realize I've only seen it once, and it was hyped up too much for me. But I think there was a stiffness in all of the characters. And maybe that was the writing, maybe that was the way it was intended to be. But on first viewing, if I were just going to say, I think the whole thing was just too stiff and took itself too seriously. So I think that I'm trying to separate my dislike so I can do a more articulate answer. Maybe Keanu, honestly. But that's because I like happy-go-lucky Bill and Ted Keanu better than serious Keanu.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. So.
Just trying to keep you on your toes for an interesting episode with differing viewpoints.
Yeah, you coming from left field with your stuff, so okay. Good Lord, that's like a brick. Okay, all right. The final topic. Would you take it to Pluto? So let me explain what I mean when I say, would you take it to Pluto, or any planet? Canobite, any planet. Tatooine. If you could only take 5 movies with you, and you had 10 to choose from, and Matrix is on that list of 10, would it make your top 5? Go, Rex.
Depends on what the other 9 are.
Any film. You just doesn't have to be a particular film, but there's only 10. But of that 10, Matrix is one of those 10.
Not for me, but I will say this. I recognize why people love this film. And I can recognize its artistic merit from a filmmaking standpoint, a screenwriting standpoint, the plot, all of it. I can recognize why people like it. So, that being said, no, I personally would not take it to Pluto.
What would you take to Pluto? Real quick.
Oh, Trainspotting?
Okay.
Moulin Rouge, Love Actually, The Fifth Element, and The Labyrinth.
I knew you laughed about halfway through this list.
Hey, those are 5 movies I could rewatch a trillion times. They make me happy. They got people I admire in them. I can quote them over and over again. And I'm one of those people that will watch the same movie over and over again just because it gives me a little bit of dopamine.
She's been true to herself. I can attest.
Love Actually. Okay.
But I will say this also, Trainspotting is my favorite film of all time, and it's bleak and harrowing.
Yeah.
But it's still, it's an incredible film, but that's neither here nor there. So
it's a good choice, though. Good choice. I can feel you on that. Yeah. Rex.
I can see why somebody would take this film to Pluto because it's highly rewatchable. Third time in was just as good as the first time for me. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, and I'm pretty snobby about that rating. But I got a lot. There's probably 9 other movies that it would be there with it for me.
But you want to take 5?
Probably 5. In the top 5?
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't make my top 5, but I could see it being in the top 10.
So it wouldn't go to Pluto.
Really, as sci-fi movies go, there's a lot of bad science fiction and bad hero movies that have come out of Hollywood and or out of film in general through the years, this is not a bad movie in any way, shape, or form.
No.
It holds up. Even the effects hold up, which is rare for a film made in the late 90s.
I agree with that.
I can't knock the film in any way, other than those minor quibbles we were laughing about earlier. Everybody who likes an origin story, who has interest in a story that tells about people's search for freedom or people learning about their identity, there's something there for everyone. If you just want to see some badass Wing Chun done on camera, there's that, which I would say the good thing about all of the martial arts stuff in the film is it's a break from the usual gunplay that you see in an action movie.
True, very true.
There were, but it wasn't all that, and that to me, that just enhances the film. They put a lot more thought into this than most action movie directors did. So I can see why it would be on anybody's list for Pluto.
Yeah,
and I know it's on yours.
Yeah, it's definitely going to Pluto with me. Because like I said before, I've seen this movie well over 100 times, probably close to 150 times. I mean, I've seen it just that many times. And still to this day, I'm still amazed by the technical proficiency of this film. And like I said, just being able to see something, because it just takes me back to the first time I saw it, and just remembering how amazed I was at seeing something, seeing that on screen the first time. And to this day, nothing has really topped it to me. In some ways, Inception, kind of put me in that same mind frame, but Inception is not as good as The Matrix, I don't think. But there, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. It's not, but yeah, you're absolutely right. One echoes the other.
And I haven't seen Tenet yet, but I'm kind of excited to see that, because it gives me hope that that film is going to show me something. I've heard that it is groundbreaking, and the reviews haven't been too great for it, but it's saying that the technology behind it and the imagery is the special effects is next level. So I'm interested in seeing that as soon as I possibly can. So, but yeah, it is absolutely positively going to Pluto with me. It'll be the DVD box set. So, there you have it, The Matrix. Watch it again. So, that being said, are you gonna watch it again, Rachel?
To be honest, I might watch it again, just because I was so confused the entire time that I think I probably didn't understand it thoroughly enough. My critique still stands, but I am willing to watch it again.
That's all I can ever ask. And that and that is the purpose of Watch It Again, convincing folks out there why they should watch a movie again. For whatever reason, I don't care what the reasoning is, but I need you to watch The Matrix again. So if you're out there listening, you need to watch The Matrix again and again and again until you like it. And if you don't like it, watch it again until you do like it. That's what you need to do. So, Rex, I know you're going to watch it again too, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, that being said, anything you want to add? Any parting shots? Anything? You name it. No. Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the trilogy, because I haven't seen parts 2 and 3.
Oh my God, sweet Jesus. Oh, touch me, Lord.
I'll save that for the end.
Oh.
But I'm going to watch them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I guess I'll watch them too.
Sweet Jesus. All right. Okay, Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions are the sequels. So if you do watch them, hit me up and let me know. I want to know what you guys think about it, okay?
Oh, absolutely.
And to my listeners out there, once again, I appreciate everyone for listening. I appreciate everyone for subscribing. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Rex, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Rachel, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I appreciate it. Comment below. Let me know what you think about The Matrix. Would you watch it again? Have I convinced you to watch it again? And if I did convince you to watch it again, why? Did Rex convince you to watch it? Or did Rachel convince you not to watch it again? So I need to know all of that. Okay? Did Rachel turn you off of The Matrix with some of her commentary? And did Rex point out some things that might make you look at it in a different light? And did I do the same? So these are things I want you to know. I want you to comment below and let me know. Once again, subscribe. Hit me up on Twitter at WhatLonzoThinks. You can email me, whatlonzothinks@gmail.com. Once again, it's The Matrix, one of the greatest sci-fi films of all time. It grossed over $400 million at the box office, so they did something right. So, that being said, hit me up. Let me know what you think, because damn it, you just heard what Lonzo thinks.